Our family of 6 saves thousands of dollars each year by not doing these certain things or paying for different things that most of society thinks is standard. So I'm going to share different ways that we save thousands of dollars every year. So stay tuned so you can learn some tips and tricks on how to be more frugal and stick to a budget for your family. Friends, I thought it would be a good time to share how we stay frugal and save thousands and thousands of dollars as a family of 6 and a one-income family and live below our means. So I'm just gonna jump in and start with my list. They're in no particular order, and this is what works for us. You feel what works out for your family, and cutting certain things out, living in a different state, different place may change what you can cut out, what you can save money on, and maybe you're already doing all of these things. But for our family of 6, I wanted to share what we do and how I've just come accustomed to it, being a frugal homemaker and mama to 4 and with a single income family. First of all, small home living. We live in a 950 square foot house as a family of 6. We don't live large. The average size of a house in America, I believe, is around 2,400 square foot. And so ours is quite a bit smaller than that. And the average size of a family is less than we have, obviously. I think it's like 1.9 kids is what the average American family size is. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I think I heard most recently in 2025. So living in a smaller home, less to pay for all the expenses of living, water and electric and heating and cooling and just maintaining, honestly. All right, next one is buying used cars. So we have never bought a brand new car in our family. We don't drive, honestly, super often, so that actually also helps. Being a homemaker, a home mama, stay-at-home mom, we do get out about once or twice a week, but I don't drive a whole lot, and a used car gets us from one place to the other just great. So we have a 2009 Acadia, and we bought it before we had our 6-year-old, so 7 years ago, and we have definitely put the miles on it, burned through it. It's got some problems, but it sure does get us from one place to another. It's a good family vehicle. It fits all 4 of our kids. Not a whole lot of backspace, but finding another vehicle is probably on the list, but of course it will be a used vehicle at that. So we save a lot of money by buying an affordable, budget-friendly family vehicle that was used. Speaking of used, my home, it is a secondhand furnished home. The majority of it, I would say 90% of my home, the furniture, the decor, it is secondhand. Appliances sometimes, actually they were here when we moved in, but we live with secondhand pieces. Most of the larger pieces were either gifted, Facebook Marketplace, thrifted, bought from friends. Yeah, I think that's the list. And if they were new, they usually were gifted. So one of the chairs I'm just looking at here was a gift at Christmas. So I put on my Christmas list and I got a new chair from my parents. So just a different way to ask for a gift, especially if you can't afford new, is ask for it as a gift. And then thrifted, like I said. Furniture is so expensive new, and when you have kids, it is not worth buying new, in my opinion, because then you're concerned about, are they gonna mark it up? Is it gonna get holes and tears in it? Kids are just more rough on things than we want them to be. We feel like we can maintain it. I have had this standard before, but now that I have 4 kids, I had to lower my standard that, all right, they're just gonna be a little bit more rough on things, and I just maintain it the best that I can, because that's a way to make it look nicer, even if it is secondhand. So tables secondhand, like couches, side chairs, beds were new or affordably bought on Amazon. And some other things were new if we needed it for that time, but that's something you save up for and then you buy. But most of my furniture is secondhand. And decor, I love thrifting. I shared a recent thrifting video I share thrifting videos often in my home and have shared my small home tour where you can just see how much thrifted I do buy and how to buy thrifted pieces for organizing and for decorating at the same time. So I did say secondhand furniture and decor, those two kind of go together because I do buy decor for my home, but I never go to a department store or upscale store for my decor. It's usually from a thrift store or a garage sale. For kids, we don't buy new, hardly at all. So we just had our fourth baby a couple months ago, and all the things we got for it were secondhand or just the staples that were new. So no onesies. I just bought a pack of 5 and they're gonna burn through them, and that's what they wear. So we don't buy new for the kids. And the new and upcoming things like, let's see, a video baby monitor. We don't have one of those. We have the standard audio baby monitor, and honestly, I often just go check on the kids. So living in a small home, if they're napping in their bassinet in the bedroom, then I will just go pop in and look to make sure they're doing okay. So I hardly ever even use my monitors. It's mainly used for if I'm traveling to grandparents or my parents and we are having them sleep in a basement and we're upstairs visiting. Then I bring monitors along. But we've had my audio monitor since our first was born 6.5 years ago, and we haven't invested in the video ones. Call me old-fashioned, but it works. Things like those toddler towers, I think you want to call it. What's changed that kids can't stand on a chair? So that's just me thinking they can pull up a chair for your kid. If they're young enough, I just set them on the counter. Once they get old enough, we'll grab a step stool and they can just stand next to me. Besides, having a small home, a toddler tower just would take up way too much space. So you just make do with what you have, and kids are okay with that. If they don't know any different, they don't know any different. And we also don't buy them a lot of new toys. Christmas time, they do get a list to make, and grandparents and family buy them some things, but they can keep that limited as well, or I keep that limited in the home too, just living in a small home. So that helps us save money by having less in the home to manage and deal with. All right, minimal subscriptions. This is a big one for us. We have one subscription, and that is Amazon Prime. We don't subscribe to anything else, nothing. We don't have a TV in our house, so if we watch a show as husband and wife after the kiddos are in bed, we watch something on Amazon Prime on my laptop. We sit on our coffee table and we sit on the couch and watch a show. I do enjoy having a TV when I can because it is nicer to be able to look up and watch a bigger screen. But in our current stage of life, we do not have a TV, and watching it on the computer is great. It works fine for now. And we have that one subscription of Amazon Prime. I know there's so many things you can subscribe to. Walmart Plus would be one I would subscribe to if they deliver this far. But we live too far out of the big city for a delivery. We live in a very small town, but it's just outside of their limits of delivery. So no subscriptions besides Amazon Prime, and that is something I feel good about, not having to subscribe to anything else. The next ones are food related, and I did share frugal tips in the kitchen video, which you can find in the description box, or I'll try to put it up here so you can click on it and watch that, where I get more into detail about how we save money in the kitchen as a family. It was 5 at the time when I made the video, but how we save money as a family of 6. So the biggest ones I can think of is eating at home. We probably eat out once a month, and that's usually just for a date with my husband and I, and then we'll get a coffee out and maybe eat out at a nicer restaurant, and that's it. So maybe spending $100, $150 on eating out a month for just a date, maybe less, I'm not even sure. But it is something that really saves us a lot of money. The one benefit too of living near and in a smaller town is there's not a lot of choices for restaurants. So you really, if you want good quality food, cook from scratch. And my kiddo today just told me, Mom, I like your food. So makes you appreciate from scratch cooking and making food at home. Along with the lines of food is making your own coffee at home. We do have an espresso machine, but we do make our own coffees at home, so that saves a lot of money. And then using all of our leftovers. I can't remember the last time I really threw out a leftover. We reheat our food the next day for a meal. I'll turn a roast into something else the following day. We do not try to waste in this family. We're not a no-waste family by no means. I throw things out, don't get me wrong, but I try to do the best I can with, for sure, the food items, and I grow a lot of my own food. That is another one. Growing your own food can help you save money, especially in the summer months, because you can just go out and pick all those fresh produce, and that can be your side dish for a meal, or your carb for the potatoes and sweet potatoes that we grow. And onions, they grew enough to last us at least half a year. So just things like that really save thousands of dollars. Not the food alone, but the whole gambit of what I talked about has saved our family so much in the long run. And I know with the economy and having a family and just trying to be able to make it, if you are a one-income family as well, it is tricky and hard. And so these are just ways that we have saved on money. I kind of went through them pretty fast, but I know there's probably other ways I could recommend and suggest and share that we do. But a lot of it is encompassed in the overall of what I pointed out to you. Like little things like reusing decor in a different way throughout the season or something like that. You know, reusing Christmas decor year after year after year and not buying the trends. So like for clothing for myself, sure, I'll get some new stuff maybe after I've had a baby, but I don't just always get what's on trend every season, because honestly, for ladies, that fashion trend is changing so often that I can't even keep up with it. So I wear what I enjoy, maybe get one or two trending pieces for a year and hardly even in the season. And most of the time it's thrifted, or at least affordably bought. But yeah, just not staying up with what's super trendy, because it's here and then it's gone the next day. So I hope you are just inspired to look at what you've got in your bank account and your budget and see where you can cut and see where you can find improvements so that you can live on less and have more to honestly give. Because for my husband and I, we do live by that motto that Dave Ramsey has, is I live like no one else so I can give like no one else. And when you cut some of these things out, live small, shop secondhand, buy used cars, don't eat out, you're living like society doesn't live. And then you can give to your church, to a charity you want to support, to missionaries you want to support, to someone who is in need. And that just makes it all the better, because I'm a Christian and I believe that we are called to give. And that is something that just really is an amazing thing. When you can live like no one else, you can give like no one else. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will be sharing more thrifty content, Christmas decor content, DIY gifts, and things of that nature in the next couple of weeks. So I hope you have a blessed and wonderful day, friends. Bye.